We are live in Studio B with your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. Jeremy Jordan alongside Blaine Fowler. Let's bring in our first guest of the day, the all-time leading scorer at BYU, the BYU TV countdown to kickoff, tip-off analyst with me or Dave or Spencer or whoever's hosting that day. He is Tyler Haws. Tyler, welcome to the program, man.
Hey, thanks. Always good to be on with you guys.
And welcome to the when BYU loses to, we got to talk to somebody. So, Ty, we want to talk to you about this because, hey, that was a rough weekend, man. Losing near the buzzer against Santa Clara and then at Pacific, the first quad 3 or 4 loss under Mark Pope, back-to-back losses now in the regular season. So, what was your perspective on what happened with BYU men's hoops over the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, both games, tough ones to swallow. I think, my initial reaction to both games were, hey, we played really well offensively. I mean, both games, BYU shot the ball really well, but uncharacteristic of this group, there were a lot of defensive lapses and guys getting right to the rim, big momentum shifts on that end of the floor, which we haven't really seen all season, no matter who they've played. And just really, really tough ones emotionally as a fan to swallow. And, but this is part of a season for any team. And there are tough moments and tough losses. And, it's like Coach Pope always talks about. It's about how you respond. And so still, even though it was a gut punch, there's still a lot to play for. And I think this team's going to regroup.
Ty, it's interesting. You go right to the defensive side of things, and Mark Pope also went there in his post-game interviews and referring to both games last week, saying, hey, it's so uncharacteristic of us. We've hung our hat on defense and rebounding all season long, so to not do that on the road was surprising. How does that happen? You expect teams to maybe have an off shooting night, but isn't defense and rebounding all about effort? And so how all of a sudden in 2 games did they regress so backward in terms of defense and rebounding?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've tried to think kind of what happened as well. And, sometimes in both those games, I feel like they got off to great starts offensively. And, the teams that I played on, we weren't always the best defensively. And sometimes when we got off to a really good start and we saw a couple of shots go in, sometimes there's a tendency to relax on the defensive end because you feel like everything is just going right on the other end of the floor. And, maybe that's something that happened, just a mental lapse, thinking that all is well, we're going to, steamroll these teams like other conference games so far. And that just can't happen. You can't lose your focus on the things that you can control, right? You can't always control shots that are going in, but defensively, you got to stay locked into the scout, got to stay locked into defensive principles. I thought there were just mental errors on the defensive end and rebounding, right? I mean, these guys always talk about having strong gaps, just playing together defensively, and they didn't do that. Guys got right to the rim over and over and over again, and just went right at our bigs inside both games, and so there's definitely some things to tighten up on that end of the floor.
We're talking to Tyler Haws on BYU Sports Nation. Tyler, a couple of weeks ago, I felt like BYU was probably 2 games better than it should have been. It figured out ways to win a couple of games that normally probably would have lost. Now BYU loses a pair and probably is where they probably should have been. Should is an interesting word there. But without Gavin Baxter and Richard Harward, this team was doing amazing things. Now we've had a couple of games where it was like we've talked about with defense and rebounding. Do you feel like this team was overachieving a little bit and now they regressed to the mean, or do you feel otherwise?
I feel like they were, I don't know, probably a little bit of both in a way. They were definitely overachieving. I think they exceeded expectations, especially after Baxter and Harward go out. I mean, you're expecting big things out of add a freshman inside, and the team dynamic and roles had to change. And so I definitely think they exceeded expectations there. But these two games were winnable games, and they should have been won, and they played well enough to win. But they didn't take care of the things that they could control. The defensive side of the ball, rebounding, there were just mental errors, mental lapses that, BYU was the better team in both of those games. And, but it's about responding now, and there's still a lot to play for. And what I think BYU's challenge going forward is just emotionally dealing with this, right? I don't think the house is on fire per se, as it may feel. I mean, it's hard walking around on campus and talking to people and going to church on Sunday. It will feel like the house is on fire. I remember my junior year, we had a great team, and right in the middle of that season, we lost to Utah and Oregon, and then we started out conference losing to who was Pepperdine and LMU.
Yeah.
We had 4 straight losses, and I remember going to church, and like, these are neighbors, these people I grew up with, and they're like, "Hey, Ty, hey, we'll get them next year. You got it next season." Yeah, I'm like, we still have 20 games left to play. Like, what are we talking about? And so I think the challenge for this group is emotionally, right? How do we, push the reset button and figure out how to move on? Because I really don't feel like the house is on fire. These are things that can be fixed, and BYU is definitely as good as advertised.
So Tyler, I want to talk to you a little bit about Alex Barcello, especially this week. So obviously he was getting what Jeremy and I call it the Tyler Haws treatment, right? Since you were the all-time leading scorer, lots of games, the entire defense was bent on stopping you. You're getting doubled all the time. Particularly in that Pacific game, Alex is getting doubled 30 feet away from the basket. What's it like to have to play through that, and what advice would you give to Alex? Because he may see a bunch of that moving forward.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, especially when teams are trying to beat you up, like that's part of their game plan, is just to tire you out, right? We're going to throw double and triple teams every time you come off a ball screen, every time you come off a down screen. You're seeing multiple bodies, right? That can get mentally tiring over the course of a game. And, I can remember almost every game in conference, my junior and senior year, just fighting with refs and really starting out the game kind of going, "Hey, I know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. Are we on the same page here?" And there's all these games within the game that are happening, right? And I think Alex has handled it really, really well so far, and he's committed to making the right basketball play. I think that's the one piece of advice I would give him is, hey, like, be aggressive and attack, and keep playing your game that way, but make the right basketball play. And other guys have to step up, right? Other guys have to be ready to knock down open shots and be ready to play. And you can't win the game by yourself, but you have to keep that aggressive mentality. And I mean, that Santa Clara game, guys, he hit some shots that were amazing. I mean, a couple of his threes in transition, very, very little space. And we don't usually see Alex take those shots. And I mean, it feels like, to me, he has the right mindset, and he's going to be fine moving forward.